How are you guys all doing? Welcome back to the GSMC Chip Shot Football Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Manny Mardiege. Today is July 29th here on a Monday to start the week, but also wrapping up the month of July. It's going by super fast. We have the first preseason game this coming Thursday. Football is right around the corner. Training camp is getting a little bit more intense. Everything is going great in the world of the NFL, and I thought I'd bring you guys some stories here to talk about to start this week off. Some contract talks, talking about Jordan Love getting that massive contract, making him the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Then the Dallas Cowboys sent some new offers to CeeDee Lamb and to Dak Prescott. I'll let you guys know what Stephen Jones said in regards to how those negotiations are going. Then also, to wrap up the first half of the show, the NFLPA wants to potentially restrict some media access after the games to some of the media and some of the interviews. Find out more on those topics, plus much more, coming up on today's show. Before I start off talking about Jordan Love, I want to remind you guys, if you have any questions or comments you'd like to make, to please use the tip and donations link, GSMCPodcast.net. By using that tip and donations link, I'm able to see your question or comment, read it out loud, and get your guys' thoughts on anything I say. Plus, it's a massive help for the show and this network, so please, if you guys are able to do so with any comment or question you'd have, please use the tip and donations link, GSMCPodcast.net. But without further ado, we're going to jump right into the first topic on today's show, Jordan Love, the new highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Every time someone gets a new contract, they don't last very long at the top of the list as the highest paid quarterback, really, or really at any position, honestly. The same thing with the wide receivers. Everything's just going quickly right after one another. Everything's going right in concession with one another. So on Jordan Love, just to talk over what he got, how it affects everything else. Jordan Love, if you look at it, the announcement came on Friday, and on Friday we got the news of Tua also. So I had to change some things around and include Tua then on that show, but then to find out later on in the evening after the show that Jordan Love got an extension. Pretty wild that both of them just happened on the same day like that. But Jordan Love, like I said, now the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, a 4-year, $220 million extension, a $55 million salary to go along with Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow, $160 million guaranteed, and $75 million as a signing bonus, which is also the largest signing bonus in NFL history as well. To go along with the Tua contract, it almost seems like this was lined up and that they were ready to announce this, but the way that it all played out, I thought Tua's, like it usually typically does, happens at the end of the week or over the weekend. That's the biggest news that everyone's going to talk about going into the next 3 days. But then very late on Friday, around 9 o'clock Eastern time, in the evening, then this news drops, and it kind of throws everything off because now it bumps everybody down, and Jordan Love is up there now as the highest paid quarterback, and they're both under the same agent firm, so I guess that also has something to do with it, both of them lining up perfectly on 4-year deals as well. But regardless of that, like I mentioned, it shakes up everything now at the top 5 quarterbacks, highest paid in the NFL. You look at the top 5 now, and 3 of these guys are brand new just this offseason. At number 5, you have Jared Goff at $53 million. Then Tua at number 4, same thing at $53 million. Then Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, and Jordan Love make up the rest of the top 5, with all of them at $55 million as a salary. So if Dak gets paid, if he doesn't get $60 million per year, he should probably, if it follows this pattern, should get $54 million per year just to fit in. Everyone has 53 or 55. Nobody wants to have $54 million guaranteed, but that's how it all shakes up now. And if you look at Jordan Love just here specifically, how this has all affected him, how this has just come really in a big wave just after this year, and really in short amount of time, because it's not like it was right from the beginning of 2023 that Jordan Love was just killing it. The Packers were looking great. It was quite the opposite to start off the year. Through the first 9 games, he had 14 touchdowns to 10 interceptions and a 3-6 record overall as a team. So arguably couldn't have been a worse start for Jordan Love as his first year as the starter in Green Bay. But like I mentioned, in the second half, just completely different. Something switched in that locker room or just in Jordan Love that in the second half of the year, he produced 23 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, and he finished with the second most touchdowns in the NFL, right behind Dak's 36 to Jordan Love's 32 touchdowns. So very much you pile that on top of the playoff performances he had against the Cowboys going into Dallas and looking like nothing fazed him, like it was his 10th time in the playoffs, whereas it was actually his first. Then traveling to San Francisco, almost beating the 49ers at their home stadium as well. It would have been almost too good to be true, and it was unfortunately a mistake, a bad throw that he made there towards the end of the game that finished it all off. But great signs, promising signs for Jordan Love and the entire Packers organization, really, to just get you excited. You know, the biggest criticism now is that it's only been a year technically as him as the official starter, but he has been there since 2020, learning under arguably one of the best talents, if not the most talented quarterback in the NFL and Aaron Rodgers in NFL history. So that piling all up and then to just see it now play out in full fruition has got to be a great sign, has got to be a great sight to see for Packers fans anywhere. But on that 2020 class, there was all these posts made about it on social media that I thought were super interesting, just how it all lines up with 2020, that quarterback class, 2021 and 2022, and now this year, just a few months ago in 2023. To start off in 2020, Jordan Love's draft class, this now makes it 5 quarterbacks taken in that draft class that got extended since they've been drafted. You talk about Joe Burrow, Herbert, Tua were the first 3 quarterbacks taken in that draft. They've all been extended since then. Then you add on Jalen Hurts also extended as well in that. And now you have Jordan Love. All those 5 quarterbacks taken in that draft. All of the 4 out of the 5 were in the first round, and Jalen Hurts was a little bit after. But all of them, 4 out of those 5 that were taken in 2020 now make up the 6 highest paid quarterbacks in the entire NFL. And just to cap it all off, this quarterback class in 2020 has produced almost $1.25 billion, billion dollars in total quarterback contracts. You add up all 5 of those guys and how much they're making right there at the top of the list. It's insane. It's pretty crazy just how successful, how talented that class was in 2020. And all of them, you see that they're just killing it now in the NFL, highly regarded as some of the best and now getting paid like some of the best as well. But then you look at the other classes that I mentioned, and then just the comparison, the drop-off that you get is, I'll say concerning a little bit, but just also, I don't think anybody would have expected it to play like this, because in 2021, you realize that the only quarterback there to get extended from that class was Trevor Lawrence. Then you have Justin Fields as well in that class. It hasn't all panned out too well for the rest of the quarterbacks in there. Mac Jones in there, Trey Lance, I want to say also. All these quarterbacks, just Zach Wilson also. Trevor Lawrence really being the only one to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, but the rest to fall short. It was a little bit alarming, but then in 2022, you had Kenny Pickett drafted in the first round, and then you had Malik Willis, Matt Corral among those guys. And again, another disappointing class that Kenny Pickett was selected in the first round, but not really had the level of success that this 2020 class had at all. And it is a little bit alarming, a little bit disappointing if your team did draft a quarterback in those 2 years. But now 2023 is looking a bit more promising with JJ, Caleb, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, all those guys. So hopefully we get some more influx of talent now with this quarterback class, because really it's been almost 4 years since we've got a really talented one. And they're all getting paid like it now, so that's great for them, great for those teams that scouted them and drafted them to their teams. But to wrap it up here just on the rest of this, it's like I said, it's a little bit weird how if Tua's contract had any impact on Jordan Love's at all because of how close they were. Same agency firm, so maybe it had something to do with it there. Just collaborating with each other to get 4 years to benefit the players instead of 5 years could be something there to look into. But Now comes the hard part, right? You get the money, but now the pressure of it, the expectations now. Really, Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts have set the bar right now of what success looks like for this draft class. Both of them have made it to a Super Bowl. Both of them are 0-1 in those Super Bowls, but really now, with these quarterbacks getting paid, Justin Herbert's been to the NFL once, or to the playoffs once. Jordan Love, same thing. Tua, same thing. They're all have lost, or Tua and Justin Herbert have lost their first games. Then Jordan Love having a bit more success, but regardless of that, haven't reached the bar yet. Now they're all getting paid. Now they all got their extensions done. And now comes the hard part, like I said, getting to prove it. Are you really worth that much? Are you really worth the amount of investment that comes into carrying a team to the promised land consistently, not just 1 year, getting to a Super Bowl, getting to a conference championship? This has to be a year in, year out thing to at least be in the conversation, be in divisional games, not be eliminated in the wild card round, those sort of things to kind of validate these contracts. And now, again, to compare to other teams, or one other team, the Dallas Cowboys now remain as the last team to pay or extend their wide receiver, sort of, with Brandon Ayuk still there, but really remain the last team to extend their quarterback, Dak Prescott. Jordan Love matched the highest paid quarterback, so everyone's saying that Dak's going to get a lot more money, probably 60 if he extends with the Dallas Cowboys. So we'll see how that shakes up everything. If it gets done, you guys know what my feelings are on that. I don't think the Cowboys should do it, but it looks like, based on the recent talks, it could be heading towards a more positive view for Dak and the Cowboys. But the last thing I'll say, both of these quarterbacks, Tua and Jordan Love, both held in instead of holding out. So I thought that was interesting as well. You know, just being there, not practicing, applying a different sort of pressure to your team by just seeing you there every day, and not having the head coach have their main guy in there to practice all these schemes and introduce a new offense perhaps. I think that almost works a little bit better in some instances, especially maybe with a quarterback, because everything revolves around the quarterback, obviously. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But yeah, we got a new highest paid quarterback joining the club, Jordan Love. Congrats to him. Congrats to the Packers. They should be good. I'm excited to see them. That whole division really is going to be awesome to see when they match up against each other. Really, the entire NFC, honestly. But Jordan Love now up there at the top of the mountain in terms of highest paid quarterbacks. But that'll be that segment. We have a lot more to talk about. We just finished mentioning the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to stick to them and where their contract negotiations are with CeeDee and Dak. According to sources, the Cowboys sent them new offers recently. So what does Stephen Jones have to say about it? And just I'll give my thoughts overall on where this could be heading and the timeline a little bit of when we could expect these contracts to get done. A lot more coming up on today's show, so stick around. You're listening to the GSMC Chip Shot Football Podcast.